Ryan Howard of the Philadelphia Phillies has about $50 million left on his contract, but the Phillies don't want him anymore. So you want to know if the Rockies should be interested? Did I read that right?
The Phillies are offering, I don't know how much is left on his contract.
About 60 guaranteed, 60 million guaranteed.
Okay.
They're willing to eat 50 of it.
Yeah. So if you're the Rockies, would you trade Rosario for Ryan Howard to be a backup first baseman? You think this is a silly question, but think about this. Backup first baseman, and I'm just supposing here, backup first baseman instead of Rosario, and a Jason Giambi type.
Left-handed power hitter off the bench, late innings.
Ryan Howard, if you were to go and look at it, has been very successful hitting in Coors Field.
Had a nice playoff series here.
And you saying, I don't know why I would come up with that question, but would you rather have Rosario as a backup first baseman or a guy who's a legitimate first baseman, who's a good, not a great defensive player? Rosario, we're still not certain that he's going to be much of a first baseman defensively. I was, because you talk about you have a job and you work hard. I spent a lot of time in a car thinking, and I thought the other day, well, Rosario will get 3 games a week, I would guess.
Yeah,
First
that's
game
fair.
at first base and a couple of catching. So that's what, 60 games starter?
Okay.
Pinch hitter 70 times.
So he'll get about 300 at bats, 350 at bats, maybe.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So Ryan Howard can't catch, but they could keep McHenry, who is a good defensive catcher, and
Right.
hit pretty good here, 240, 250 for a catcher. You trade Rosario for who's making right at $3 million.
Yes.
He lost his number. He wanted 3.3 and got 2.8, I think, in arbitration.
You're only into him for 1 year, though.
Ryan Howard?
Yeah.
That's all I want to be in with him. I don't want to be in with
Right.
no years for Rosario.
I understand where you're going with this. Can I poke a few holes in it, at least
Absolutely,
the way I see it?
because
Okay.
I mean, and I was serious about the question. It was not a joke question, and I'm not laughing at it.
I got it.
But I thought it would cause.
And now that you've explained it to me, I understand where you're coming from. It makes some sense. I'll tell you where I think it doesn't make sense, and that is, number one, if I'm the Phillies, I don't want Rosario. He's not a National League player. He needs to be in the American League. He's a DH. I don't even want him as my backup catcher. Number two, the Rockies already have a first baseman who is aging, who is a National League batting champ, who does hit with some power. I don't know that they need Ryan Howard to be here, especially at that price. And that's the third part. I don't know that Monfort's even willing to pay $10 million for him. He's really struggled. Ryan Howard has really struggled at the plate the last couple of years. He tore his Achilles, which we talked about earlier, the devastation of an Achilles injury, and he just hasn't looked like the same guy. Plus, he's lost a ton of weight, so he doesn't have the power he used to have. So I understand what you're saying, and maybe he's a slight improvement over Rosario as a backup first baseman. But I also like, believe it or not, I also like the fact that you do have an emergency catcher on your roster with Rosario if he sticks with this team. Howard can play first base and only first base. I know I don't like Rosario, but now I have an emergency catcher. I know there's a little
No, they're going to go
hypocritical
catchers. First
aspect
of
to that.
And you said, I got a catcher. Is Rosario really a catcher? He's not much of a catcher. Ryan Howard, left-handed, at his age, could probably catch. I could probably catch. I was a catcher. I could probably catch as well as Willen.
I also believe that if Rosario does get 300 or 350 at bats, he'll hit more home runs than Ryan Howard would in the same number of at bats.
Okay, well, I take that, but I think it's a topic worthy of discussion.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for
ways
to help the Rockies. Would you try and make Corey Dickerson into a first baseman?
Not a bad idea, because
I haven't heard that at all.
No, not a bad idea. First of all, he's a left-hander, which is advantageous for first baseman, and number two, he's not great in left field. So try him at first. What the hell?
My third
Not a bad
question,
idea. I like that. Although you know my solution to the whole problem. If
What?
Tulowitzki has trouble staying on the field playing shortstop, I've wanted to move him to first base for 2 years. In fact, when they named Jeff Bridich the GM, I said publicly when I was on radio, the first conversation I would have if I were Jeff Bridich was to call Tulo into my office and say, Troy, I think you need to seriously consider playing first base because we want to keep you on the field. We want to keep paying you. We love you in a Rockies uniform, and I think you can stay healthy that way.
You're Jeff Bridich. I'm Tulowitzki.
Yeah.
Act that out for a moment.
All right.
Hi,
Troy.
hey, Jeff, good to see you.
Troy.
I'm in your office. You asked me to come in. What
Thanks,
do you want to
thanks
talk
for
about?
coming by. I know I've read and I've heard that you don't like this idea, but I'd like you to reconsider it. And I'm proposing this to you for your good as well as ours. I would like to keep you on the field as much as possible. As you know, 4 out of the last 6 seasons, you haven't been able to stay on the field very well. And I believe that you are very, very important, not to our one-loss record
You want to take
alone.
that call, Jeff?
Not to our one-loss record alone, but also to our fan base.
Okay.
I would like you to consider.
Can you get to the
I would like you. This is how I work, man. I'm softening you up, all right? I would like you to consider at least taking ground balls at first base, maybe playing a little at spring training next year, seeing if you're comfortable with it. I know you consider yourself a shortstop, but there have been other great players in the history of this game who have left more strenuous positions to play first base or third base or one of the corner outfields. And I believe that in order to keep you happy and give you a long, successful, lucrative career, I'd like you to give this a shot. What do you think?
I think, Jeff, that was really nice of you to invite me into your office. It's good to see you.
I'll give you the list of teams I'd like you to trade me to.
Get in touch with my agent. You know, you can talk to Ernie Banks. You're an old Cubs fan.
Well,
I'm
you
sure.
can't talk to him now.
You can talk to Ernie Banks and say, you know, you should move from shortstop to first base. You know, Mets, Yankees. You know,
Robin Yount, they moved from shortstop.
Hey, great. Hey, thank you, Jeff.
Paul
I really
Molitor made
appreciate
the
it.
move.
Don't call me.
I'll call you.